Hey everyone, welcome to Active Cell Protection Extra. Today on John's Briefs, here with Terry Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection, again at the Active Cell Protection National Conference, and filming in front of a live audience, doing John's Briefs in a little different way, so we allow them to ask questions and those kinds of things. But we had an officer-involved shooting on the channel not long ago involving an LAPD officer who had a large social media following. And I don't know anybody who has a large social media following who might get in a defensive gunfight, but I'm interested in what that means for somebody who would have that larger presence, but I don't know anybody like that, and what that social media following could do for their criminal and or civil defense. Let's talk about it.
Today's video is brought to us by Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for self-defenders. They are offering a discount on their plan to Ask fans, so hit the link in the description for that.
Now then, I think it's interesting. Now you might go, oh, we're just talking about John as a YouTube celebrity or whatever, but you probably have a social media presence too if you're commenting on a YouTube video, and you might have pictures on your Facebook of you shooting too. And the family, after this officer-involved shooting, is going, wait a minute, this lady, she's trained at famous schools, has trained with Hugh Hefner, and
with who?
With Taryn Butler. So she's trained at Taryn Tactical, who in the tactical training community they call Hugh Hefner, and which is a famous school in Southern California where a lot of celebrities train. He's trained on John Wick and those kinds of things. Obviously, I'm talking about Keanu Reeves, not John Wick, but trained Keanu how to shoot for the John Wick movies, and so she's trained there. She's got a fairly large size Instagram following, right? Because she's pretty and shoots well, and dudes love guns and pretty. I mean, it just is what it is, right? And so then the family's saying, wait a minute, she did all this tactical training. She's glorifying guns. She's got pictures of her with guns. She just wanted to shoot somebody. So from a criminal perspective, Terry, do you think that her social media presence hurts her in a court of law?
Absolutely. Because again...
No, wait, that's the wrong answer, man.
Absolutely. What's a little different for you? I mean, we don't want to see you in, a tank top and booty shorts shooting anyway. If you want to see that, just put the comments on there for John.
That's on my
I'm saying no.
Okay, that's my premium Snapchat.
But in all seriousness, I think it could hurt her because, again, what you post, a lot of people think that's what you are. So, for example, in this case, we have a woman who's out here showing how good she is with a gun, the high level of training she has, things along those lines. Let me give you an example. Someone on that jury who's not familiar with guns is probably going to say, why didn't she just shoot him in the knee? She's that good. Why? And we know the answer. Okay, us gun guys know the answer to that. But why didn't she shoot him in the knee? Why didn't she? And again, did the guy have I don't remember if he had a weapon or not.
Yeah, he had a knife on him.
Had a knife. Why didn't she shoot the knife out of his hand?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I want you to think about this as we start to see people post things about, they go to the range and they show how their groupings are, so tight here, and look at my headshots here. I mean, that shows the level of training that you have. And the scary part about that is it can and will be used against you.
So how does that interact with Rule 404? So Federal Rule 404 of the Rules of Evidence says that character, can't be admissible in a court of law.
The character 404B, or A or B, which one are you referring to?
Well, I don't know the law that well. I'm gonna have to look it up. Shall we look? Okay, so this is. I mean, seriously, I wanna get this here because I know what it says. Basically, is that the prior acts can't be. Let's see, federal.
Well, you can 404B someone, if that's what you're referring to. And then what that talks about is prior acts and things along those lines of someone. Those are actually allowed to come in under the federal rules, and most states have some similar type of 404B type evidence.
Yeah, so Rule 404 in the federal code is character evidence, crimes, and other acts. So character evidence, it says prohibited uses. Evidence of a person's character or character trait is not admissible to prove that on a particular occasion the person acted in accordance with the character or trait. That's subset 1. Number 2 in 404A says exceptions for a defendant or victim in a criminal case.
So we now have a defendant.
Yep.
Yes.
The following exceptions apply in a criminal case. A defendant may offer evidence of the defendant's personal trait, and if the evidence is admitted, the prosecutor may offer evidence to rebut it. B, subject to the limitations in Rule 412, a defendant may offer evidence of an alleged victim's pertinent trait, and if the evidence is admitted, the prosecutor may offer evidence to rebut it, offer evidence of the defendant's same trait, or in a homicide case, the prosecutor may offer evidence of the alleged victim's trait of peacefulness.
Yes.
To rebut evidence that the victim was the aggressor. Now, exceptions for a witness, exceptions for a character witness has some other rules. Now, in B, you're talking about 404B.
404B.
Crimes, wrongs, or other acts.
Now, this is the one we need to pay attention to because this is the one that will allow that evidence to come in.
All right. Prohibited uses. Evidence of a crime, wrong, or other act is not admissible to prove a person's character in order to show that on a particular occasion, the person acted in accordance with the character. So you can't say, that guy's a scumbag and has done this before. Okay?
Go ahead. I'm going to pull up my iPad while he's looking
Permitted
at that.
uses. Notice it in a criminal case that this evidence may be admissible for another purpose, such as proving motive, opportunity, intent,
You beat me to it.
preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake, or lack of accident. On request by a defendant in a criminal case, the prosecutor must A, provide reasonable notice of the general nature of any such evidence that the prosecutor intends to offer at trial, and B, do so before trial or during trial if the court for good cause excuses lack of pretrial notice. So basically 404B
Correct.
2 says the evidence may be admissible of their previous conduct to prove motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity. So if you are training like a dog in shooting,
It can go to your motive. It can go to your preparation. It can go to your intent. So now this officer, was she a deputy or officer? Do you remember?
officer, LAPD.
This LAPD officer now has to overcome what she has put on social media because it will come in.
So that means for a guy like me, I mean, I'm shooting on camera like every week. I mean, I'm showing, here's all the stuff I'm doing. I'm training people and all those things. So that's going to show up in the criminal trial if, God forbid, I get in a defensive shooter.
If you get in a defensive shooting and it's questionable, yes, it will show up.
And I mean, hers, again, some people are like, he was too far away or whatever. I did the narrated video. I think it was pretty cut and dried. She was justified in what she did. She handled herself well. She did everything right, I think. And they know Builder. I mean, you know, they're like, no, I was justified conduct. I'm sure that the family is going to bring a civil case, but that's a separate issue.
Absolutely. But again, under 404B, again, anytime you do anything and you put it out there, and that's one of the things, you know, if you start putting these things out there, one or two little things, and again, it's going to come down to a judge making that decision.
Is that admissible?
Is that admissible to show preparation, intent, conduct before?
So
yes.
Seem, I'd love your advice, counselor. We don't have a legal relationship. We're just friends.
Right.
But if I am going to show myself doing those things, that because they can be rebutted, right, by my attorney, that I better make sure that I am showing how reasonable I am all the time, that I'm showing evidence that what I'm doing is seeking to be reasonable and avoid use of forces and only bring my firearm to bear as a tool of last resort.
Well, correct. And one of the things you want to make sure that you're not doing, you know, you're not shooting, going to the range and showing all headshots. And then, you know, you get in a situation and you do a headshot when you could have, you know, shot someone center mass. That will obviously be used against you in a very negative light.
Yeah, you put up the meme that says, kill them all and let God sort them out. That sucker is going to show up in court.
Well, I can tell you, I've seen many pictures of defendants who have gone to court and on their Facebook page, they've got pictures of money and guns, you know, up in the air like this, you know. It's just a picture. No, but it goes to what?
Goes to preparation and motive.
An opportunity.
Opportunity. So I think that I mean, I don't think it's going to end up hurting her in this particular instance because hopefully she has a good, you know, legal team that's going, nope, this was her, you know, she's a competitive shooter. She's showing her playing gun games gun games is fun, it's legal, it's moral, it's fine. But for us in the defensive training world, I think we should really focus more on making sure that we are showcasing that we are reasonable,
Yes.
and that we are prepared to do anything other than shoot, rather than focus on, hey, I'm going to shoot somebody.
Absolutely, because again, as we've always talked about, everything you've done to prep to get to that point, whether you've prepped for it in order to make that exact thing happen or not, that's what's going to come out in a court of law.
So for those of you who are here in the audience today, you might want to be able to document that, hey, you attended a legal discussion so that you used force morally and ethically. This is a good thing, right? We might have videos on our YouTube channel where we talk about the legal and moral ramifications of the use of force, and consistently argue to people to only use deadly force as a tool of last resort. That might be helpful and admissible in court, wouldn't it?
It would be nice if you can get it in.
If you can get it in, right?
It's not, that doesn't go to the motive, opportunity, and preparation. That goes to a defense. So
hopefully the defense then gets to rebut if they bring
Yes.
that evidence in and say, I have other evidence that seems to show him in this direction. I think that would be helpful. Guys, be careful with your social media. It can come to bear on you. Terry, appreciate you, my friend.
thank you.